Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey there guys, so I'm back with episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett, which isn't really anything to do with Boba Fett at all. Directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, who's done 2 good episodes from season 1 and season 2 of The Mandalorian. And this episode is called Return of the Mandalorian. And this is the best episode by far, all for the wrong reasons, due to the fact it doesn't relate to the Book of Boba Fett at all. It basically like sets, finishes, it basically, best way to describe this, it closes the stuff from season 1 and 2 of Mandalorian, but also it sets up the doors nicely to season 3. And this episode was amazing. It was just ticking all the boxes for me, and it just felt like Star Wars. And I'm not saying Book of Boba Fett isn't, but everything about this episode was just so perfect. It was like a 10 out of 10. If this was, and I would consider this to be a Mandalorian 2.5 in a way, or a 2.9, because it like I said, it doesn't relate to anything about Book of Boba Fett till like the last minute of the episode. And we dive into the Darksaber mythology that like the Mandalorian hasn't really mentioned much. And true Star Wars fans would know because they've watched the Clone Wars and the Rebels, but with the Mandalorian people who don't watch the animated stuff, this really opens the doors to so many things. They got rid of the spear, which I was a bit down about, but I can understand why they got rid of it, because Mandalorian metal is not used for weapons, it's used for armor, and the fact that he uses it to try to make a gift for Grogu was really nice. We also get a flashback to the Mandalorian, and it was so dark and gruesome, and it's part of the Night of the Thousand Tears, and it's so very reminiscent to the opening stuff to Terminator 2, when you got the robots like going out killing what's left of humanity. It was kind of like that. I can understand why they didn't send troops down, because of the radiation. They had to send droids down. So you can tell that Din Djarin still has a thing for Grogu. He still wants to keep in touch with him. And we also got the armorer that we haven't seen since the end of season 1, which was really nice. And like, Din Djarin has to take a commercial flight now, and it was so funny. They had to get rid of all his gear and stuff. And we also get the droids from the Star Tours ride from Disney World Land, whatever it's called. That was so good. I mean, it just worked on so many levels. And the fact that you have that, everyone could you always have that awkward kid in front of them when they turn around and say hi, and it's like, what the fuck? Everything about this episode just works. So Din Djarin goes to Mos Eisley. He pays Peli Motto a visit, which he believes that she has a Razor Crest replacement, which isn't a Razor Crest. It's actually an N1 Naboo starfighter. And oh my god, to that point, I was just getting Phantom Menace vibes. The fact that you have this like broken down N1 Naboo starfighter, and he's just looking at it, it's like, this is junk, but they actually configure it and they turn it into like something that's brilliant. And the fact that the whole episode, the last like 10-15 minutes of the episode, is basically like Top Gun, and the fact that he's trying it out, and he's not very used to it. He's very used to a gunship, but he's trying out a starfighter, and he goes around, and especially when he goes through the canyon where the pod racing was in Phantom Menace. Everything about this episode works, especially when he goes to see that commercial flight again. He sees the kid and he nods him, and you get the X-Wing stuff again. And I like the fact that this time he outweighs them. He's like, nah, fuck it, he's too fast. That was just great. And of course, we did get like the last minute, we did get Fennec Shan, and like, we need to hire you, but like, it's on the house, whatever. But at first I need to visit an old friend, and he's going to visit Grogu. Whether or not we will see Grogu in this episode, or maybe he's going to come back, Din Djarin's going to come back and say, look, I didn't have time, I couldn't find him, something's gone wrong, and that sets up to season 3. But oh my god, this episode was just amazing. I mean, honestly, it's the best episode by far. I'm just thinking about it, just makes me so happy. It's basically, if you're not a fan of the Book of Boba Fett, but you're a massive fan of Mandalorian, you have to watch this episode, because otherwise you're going to get onto season 3, whether that comes out, and you're going to be like, oh, how did he get that ship? Oh, what's that? I like the fact he is the possession of the Darksaber now. He's trying to learn how to use it, and just the scenery alone, the shots, the butchers, the like this alien butchers, which is so reminiscent to butchers today. It reminds you so much of the Rocky films. But also, my God, that the whole city, when it's kind of basically a disc, it works on so many levels. The way it was shot, there's that one shot at the beginning when he goes to get up, gets his reward, and he walks back to the lift. Everything about this episode works. This is a brilliant, beautiful episode, and I love this. I would give this episode like a 10 out of 10. But I'm not ranking episodes, but this is the best episode of Book of Boba Fett by far, all for the wrong reasons.